Nothing was there. 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 Nothing was there.
Oh my word. Oh my word. Okay. That is.
Nothing was there. Nothing was there. Nothing was there.
Baby, listen. I don't know if y'all was like me last night, and had your credit cards ready to swipe. I had my credit card sitting right here to the side of me so that as soon as the fashion show ended, baby, I was ready to purchase. I was going to purchase the orange jumpsuit. I think it was orange. I was going to purchase the greenish color zebra print outfit that the dude had on. I was ready to buy, okay? I was so ready to buy. My body was ready. Okay, so imagine to my surprise when I looks and I goes and sees that when you try to click on the She by Sheree official website, okay, here we are on the website, okay, and we clicks the shop button. Don't nothing happen, okay. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. I keep on.
Nothing was there.
Literally, nothing was there. Like, what in the world? Okay, what do we have here with the fashion website with not an ounce of the fashion? Okay, um, I'm confused. I'm really confused by it all. Okay. Now, again, we head over to our friends over at Queens of Bravo, and I'm gonna share you at the screen again. Okay. A fashion website with no fashions? What's happening here? So then these were some pieces that are floating around on the interwebs, right? Thank you, Espar, for the super chat. These okay. These are the pieces that are floating about, but you can't find them nowhere. Where are they? Where? Okay. um and then Kenya tried to help a girl out, and she posted the She by Sheree reveal September 4th at 8 p.m. This was your prime time to have your website unlocked. I would have had that thing open at 7, like at 6 or 7 p.m. so that people could really, you know what I'm saying, start ordering their stuff, because we have been waiting for She by Sheree for years. And it really did, to me, take away from the overall feeling of the episode, because there was nothing there. Okay. The episode was really centered around Sheree and her She by Sheree line, and you can't even go and purchase anything. Raise your hand if you was ever able to purchase anything from the website last night, because they are claiming that the website crashed. Okay. That's what's being said. Okay. That's what's being said. The website crashed because it was so many orders. Okay. Let's take things over to our friends at I think the Peach Report. They always got the tea. Hold on. I think they have posted a message um from Sheree that I'm gonna read to you right now, and I'm gonna tell you what it say. Okay. Per Sheree. Due to the overwhelming interest in She by Sheree, the influx of love is crashing the website. But please understand it's being worked on, so continue to check back within the next 24 hours. She by Sheree. So again, it's those same three pieces that we keep seeing that I did not see in the fashion show. Okay. So I'm just curious as to what is really going on, okay, with this website. Because here's the thing. Last night, last night was Sheree's opportunity to sell the F out. Okay. Somebody said that they was able to buy it. Who? 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 Who got it? I'm looking for the person that said they was able to order. Latrice, you was able to order. What, Latrice, what did you order? What was you able to order? Because I never saw anything up there. Okay. I never saw anything ever. So please let us know what you ordered. Okay. Because I mean, we need to see some receipts. Okay. So anyway, let's get into, so that really sets up my thoughts for the episode. Okay. I want to talk about that right now, right? Because this is episode 14, season 14, episode 17, a fashion show with fashions. Unfortunately, there's a website with no fashions, but we'll get to that in a second. Um, I was gonna rate this finale a 10 out of 10. I really was. Because to me, it felt like such a full circle moment for Sheree in general and for the show, right? You know, 14 years ago, just about, I think it was. And exactly, this is the thing. This is the thing. 14 years ago, we had Sheree come up with this idea called She by Sheree. The name in and of itself was really iconic, and it still is to this day. And there have been multiple times when she's had actual, merchandise up on, or at least one other time I know she had merchandise up on the site, but then it was mysteriously, taken down. And I was like, okay, well, what's up with this? So then as this season started, the website was like it was a coming soon. These are the other things that you can get by Sheree. And the problem that I have right now is that this finale was filmed um likely, I would say, let's say spring, right? Let's give it till I forget when it was. It was probably like March, maybe. February, March, somewhere around about there, I think. Maybe. I can't even remember. You have had how many months to get this together and the site still doesn't work? So I got to take away a point at least for me getting hyped up and watching this episode and watching all of the fashions come together and watching things come together. There were so many great elements to this episode that to me, this not being able to access this site felt like, I don't know, it cheapened the experience of the finale to me. And the feelings and the vibes that I felt like this episode gave, which is in stark contrast to what we're watching on Beverly Hills, was a fun, fabulous season ending with some slight new storylines. We're meeting Marlo's mom for the first time. We're seeing that aspect of her. We're getting Mama Joyce and her opinions on this trust for the first. So it's lots of like, it almost felt like, okay, this could be the beginning of a new season. But we get to this point and there's nothing there. I don't know. It takes away something from it for me. You know what I'm saying? It takes something away. Sweet Cherry, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you for always making me laugh. Like, I wanted to feel good. And we're all rooting. Thank you, T. Lou, for the super chat. But folks on Etsy selling She by Sheree t-shirt. See, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, and thank you for that. It's like it ruins the experience of feeling like, oh yes, we have been rooting for you, Sheree. We were all rooting for you. Okay. And listen, for me, Mark, I'm not that person. Mark says some of you complaining we're going to buy it. Why are you complaining? I'm complaining because I have my credit card ready. Okay. I had it ready to buy, to purchase. And I am sure that there are others like me who also wanted to support, I'm supporting a Black female owned business. Okay. So that's important. Um, and B, we've been waiting for this for a very long time. But despite that, there were aspects of this episode that I did feel like were really, really good. And we're going to talk about those right now. Okay. We start the episode with Kenya receiving some great news from CVS. They're going to give her 5,000 stores for her products to go into. And Kenya Moore has spent the extra coin. Okay. Now, what I like about what Kenya has done versus what Sheree has done is that Kenya did not try to fool us or try to I don't know. She didn't try to give us a dollar figure that made me feel like, girl, I don't necessarily believe you. Like, she didn't say, oh, it cost me $1 million for my samples. No, Kenya was very realistic when she said, listen, it cost me a lot more money to get my products overseas, shipped from overseas faster so that we can meet this deadline. There was no bragging in it. There was no Hasidittiness with it. There was really just a genuine, my business was in trouble. I had to pull out all the stops and do what I had to do. And I can really respect that. And so when I watch this full circle moment, I'm like, yes. And you can go to CVS and see the evidence of the products in the stores. You understand what I'm saying? The difference there. You know, it was something that Kenya talked about throughout the season, but to see it finally come to fruition in a way that was real, that people can purchase, it just felt good to see. And whether you like Kenya or not, I think we can all agree that seeing this woman who is now having to become a single mother succeed in this way with her own product is just amazing. It's amazing. So I love that aspect of this episode. Marlo takes the boys to go spend some time with Sonia and Ross, or Aaron, but I think they just call him Ross throughout the show. And Ross is aiming to teach the boys how to change a tire and how to change oil. Okay. Valuable skills to learn. It was stuff that I hated when I was younger, but I'm so glad I learned. I never did get that oil thing down because I was always afraid the oil was going to drip down into my face. Okay. But I did get the tire changing down. All right. Chime in the chatterization if you can change some oil, because I still ain't mastered that to this day. Okay. And I don't think I want to. All right. We learned that Marlo's mom is visiting, and the last time she ended up having to stay at a hotel because she ended up causing a ruckus in the neighborhood, knocking on the folks' doors, talking bad about Marlo after they got into an argumentation because Marlo's mom deals with substance issues. Now, again, to me, I wish that this was a conversation or a scene that we had seen earlier in the season, because I feel like Marlo's relationship with her mother really informs a lot about how and why Marlo is the way that she is. And so, as we've seen Marlo throughout the season, cutting people real deep, talking, a lot of trash about them behind their backs, and, really kind of presenting this hardcore, I'm coming to get you persona. Behind that is actually pain, because she's dealt with a mom that she has never really fully been able to rely on, okay, in the way that she's needed her, right? So to me, this informs a lot about, yes, why is Marlo the way she is? I needed to see this earlier. It would have given us a lot more context into understanding why she did some of the things that she did throughout the season that might have been a little frustrating for us as viewers. Thank you for the super chat, Adrian. I appreciate you. Also, Miss D. Green says, in 14 years, Kenya has moved from LA to Atlanta, joined Real Housewives of Atlanta, gotten married, had a child, left, and rejoined Real Housewives of Atlanta and started her business. I mean, exactly. Come on now. Sheba Sheree should have been done at this point. Yes, I think I saw somebody. I understand Marlo a lot better now. It makes more sense to me. It makes more sense, and we'll get into even more of that. But we also learned that Sonya has made an appointment to get her IUD taken out because she and Ross have started to listen to each other more, and she's now ready to have another baby. A part of me feels like this was a storyline for her. Um, I don't know. I mean, because I don't know. We'll see. To me, the proof will be in the pudding because either we'll follow that journey further next season or it'll be something new next season. So I just got to kind of wait and see. But regardless, if they've chosen to go that route, I'm going to be happy for them. But I just sometimes have to use my third eye when I'm watching. And I have to ask myself, is it real, right? Is it real or is it a sort of story that is loosely true, partially true, or I don't know. I just ask myself those questions. Okay. No, it's not in every CVS. It's in 5,000. All right. Sheree meets with Tori, the event planner, and Rowan is back, thank God. Okay, to go over the event space. We learned that she has outsourced the work for the designs to someone in NYC. Now, remember, we had samples stuck in Alaska. We had samples in LA. We have someone making the pieces in New York City. Okay. And we also have only 5 pieces right now. Apparently the lady overpromised and could not deliver, and Sheree is having flashbacks to the fashion show with no fashions. How dreadful. Okay, so the next thing we see is Marlo flying her mom in, okay, who she has not seen in 3. Well, let me actually go back to Sheree for a second. That process to me of Alaska, LA, and New York, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me because I follow a lot of people online who actually have their own clothing brands, and many of them will simply work with a manufacturer who may be in China or who may be in the US to make the designs that they want. And then those designs are usually shipped over, um, and to get samples in. It really should not have taken Sheree that long to get those samples in. Because what is a sample when you think about it? It should be a sample. It should be, I have designed the outfit. This is what the outfit is going to look like. I'm going to ship you a sample of the item, of the fully developed item, and then you can put those samples on the models even if you don't have the stock in hand yet to sell it. So something is murky to me about this overly convoluted Alaska to LA and New York process. Now, I'm not calling her a liar, but I just don't understand why it was such a circuitous process when I know for a fact that it can be done a lot simpler. Okay. Jay Bentley says, everybody needs to be honest with Sheree. No excuses after that free Wix site. Always bragging about money, but can't invest 5,000 into a decent website. Lots of Black web designers would have helped her. Actually, Jay Bentley, I am sure there would have been lots of people who would have volunteered to work with her for free in order to get that site up and running. I mean, Shopify is very easy to set up, okay? And they have a free 7-day or 14-day trial period that you can actually use. So there's really no money down in the event that you cannot get what you need to get you can't get it done to your specifications. So she really could have taken that money that she did not give to Drew and put it into Shopify, and she could have gotten this done a lot quicker. But I digress. So anyway, Marlo has flown in her mother, okay, and she hasn't seen her mama in 3 years. Miss Emma arrives, but we learned that Miss Emma has arrived without her teeth because she accidentally threw away her $5,000 set of teeth, and they are now in the trash can somewhere. In my mind, I was thinking, Marlo, if you don't just drive her over down to the Dr. Smiles by Dr. Heavenly, you best too. Okay, go on ahead and have Dr. Heavenly do it. And I'm sure Dr. Heavenly probably might, do it for free. You know what I'm saying? Because it could have been on the show or something like that. But that's what I would have done. Point blank and period. But what I love about this is, to me, it just gives, Southern family to me. You know what I'm saying? That it just gives Southern family to me. Like that to me, there's no judgment behind it for me. It just is what it is, because we all have relatives in our family, you know what I'm saying, who have the dentures. You know what I'm saying? And I like the realness of it. She didn't try to hide it or nothing like that. Mama still came in as fabulous as she wanted to be, no teeth and all. And I was actually loving that element of realness and rawness, because it's not something that we typically see on reality TV. Okay. So to me, yes, it was a breath of fresh air, Um, so apparently Miss Mama Emma has a flea market back where she live at, and we can sort of see where this idea or this love of fashion comes from her from Marlo. And I was looking at Marlo's J.W. Andersons in that scene, and I was like, yes, Marlo, you better come through with them J.W. Andersons on. Anyway, Marlo wants to know if her mom is finished with all the substance abuse and the problems that she's had with that. She's hopeful that having this conversation in a public setting in this boutique will keep them from raising their voices and getting mad. Okay. So we learned that apparently Marlo at one point in time had to kick her mom out of the house that she bought for for her mother, because apparently Michael and William were staying there while mom was, on substances and disappearing and things like that. And again, I wrote that this really informs a lot about who Marlo is, why she is the way that she is. And again, we needed to see this earlier. I wish we had seen this earlier in the season. So anyway, it's 4 days before the show. We learned that Sheree could have about 10 to 12 more pieces coming. So things are coming together. No word on if they're coming from New York, Alaska, or Los Angeles, but sure enough, they're coming. Anyway, over to the CVS where real business is occurring. Kenya Moore Hair Care is thriving. Okay. Brandon is there. Candy arrives, followed by Sonia, who is looking amazing. They have a nice little ribbon cutting. Drew limps her way up into the scene. And Kenya asks, is everybody ready for the show? We learned that Sheree wanted initially 22 pieces, but she's hoping for at least 15. But right now, she only still has 5. Okay. Drew is still waiting for Sheree to pay her the money back. And Drew, girl, you probably will never see that change again. And so you probably should just go ahead and chalk it up to and call it an L and call it a date and keep it pushing. Okay. But it was also a nice little moment that they walked out dancing to, the Kenya Moore Hair Care, Kenya Moore Hair. I was liking that because I like a callback. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times on reality TV shows, I am looking for, especially on a long running show, I'm looking for callbacks. And we got a lot of those in this episode, which also helped me rank this episode so high. Those are key things that I look for because this show it has a rich history, and it would have been so nice to see this really, really come full circle for Sheree. But I digress. Okay. Candy meets with Mama Joyce, who we really haven't seen much of this season. And they meet for lunch. Mama Joyce wants to make sure that Riley should be put to the forefront of the trust that Candy and Todd have, okay? Or at least Candy's trust. Because Mama Joyce feels like Riley was there before Todd, and Riley has not had the benefit of growing up with a father figure in the way that the other kids have had Todd to grow up with. Okay. Now, I don't know if I would personally involve my mother in those conversations that I'm having about my trust. But I can understand why Candy would, because Candy seems like she has the type of relationship with her mom where they talk about everything. And so I don't fault that type of relationship. I just don't know that I need, in my opinion, my mom's advice about the trust unless she has a trust that has been managed successfully, which Mama Joyce could have a trust that's been managed successfully. I just don't know about it. But for me, um, I don't know. I don't know. Um, I don't know if I would do it. And I feel like moms might always be biased towards their own child, right? Just the truth of the matter is that, so like your mom, if you're in a marriage, your mom, you are your mother's child. So obviously your mama is going to try to make sure that you have yourself set up in the event of something that goes wrong or whatever like that. But Mama Joyce goes on to say that she doesn't think that Todd should be set up on the off chance that something happens to Candy and he gets with somebody else, and then that woman benefit from the things that Candy and Todd have built together. Now, this is difficult for me because Candy also then says in her confessional that she would prefer if something happens to her that I believe that she said this, that Todd not remarry and that they can, whoever he gets with, after, if God forbid anything ever happened to her, they can have fun together, but not to get married to anybody else because she wouldn't want anybody else benefiting off the things that she and Todd built together. This is a very interesting conversation that I don't think I've ever seen had on reality TV in this way. Mama Joyce asks who's going to be in charge of the joint trust, and Candy says Don Juan. Mama Joyce says, I think it should be Don Juan and me. Okay. Candy asked Mama Joyce, would she be nice to Todd in the event that something happened to her and she was left in charge of the trust? Again, this is a very deep conversation for me because it felt as though, again, I think there's a bit of a bias there for Mama Joyce because Candy is her daughter. And she has seen Candy grow up, be successful on her own, and then get with someone. And Mama Joyce, I'm sure, may have in the past seen people take advantage of Candy in some way, shape, or form. Thus, she is extra protective. However, there still seems to be a lingering distrust of Todd that I just cannot figure out on behalf of Mama Joyce. But I want to know from the chat, do you guys feel like Mama Joyce doesn't trust Todd, or do you feel like she's just being overprotective? Let me know what you think in the chat. Because to be quite honest with you, I feel like if something happens to me and I'm thinking, me and my spouse have a joint trust. I mean, at that point, as long as all I've made provisions for each and every child, then the joint trust I would leave to my spouse to enjoy because I'm no longer here and I'm not going to try to make my spouse from the grave make my spouse penalize my spouse for moving on with their life after I'm gone. I just don't know. It's a very difficult and interesting subject, and again, this is one of those aspects of the show that I really like because I don't think that there's a right or a wrong answer. I think that there is simply different ways of doing it, and people coming in from different perspectives. But I also feel like I agree. Somebody said it in the chat that Candy would make sure that Mama Joyce is taken care of, and I definitely agree. I don't ever think that Mama Joyce would have a care in the world, um, either way. So I don't know. I just kind of feel like for a married couple, that sort of information should stay between the married couple, period. Unless you just don't trust your spouse. So for me, that would be the only way I felt like, I mean, I would involve anybody else. But honestly, the for me, in my opinion, that stays between me, my spouse, and our financial advisor or our attorney. Period. Anyway, Sheree arrives at the venue for She by Sheree show, and the venue looks spectacular. It does. I mean, there are going to be 200 people in attendance. We learn and we meet Lovia, who is in charge of the models, who was found by again Rowan, the She by Sheree savior. Okay, and Rowan is willing to do anything to help, even fly to New York or Alaska in one day and then bring back all the fashions. Okay, but it won't be nothing to bring back if the samples aren't sewn. Okay, so there's that. Apollo arrives ready to model in one of the 5 pieces that are there. Sheree's daughter Kaylee is there, and in walks Tyrone. Okay, now this is the day before the show, I believe, right? And so when Tyrone arrives, he says, "You know, I had to pull up on you," but the daughter Kaylee don't even know who Tyrone is, which I find very fascinating. Has in all these years, has she never met this man before? Like, why does Kaylee not know who this man is? Who is? I mean, she was really like, "Who is this man? I'm sorry to this man. I do not know him." Okay. I don't even know who are you? Okay, so somebody has to tell her that's Tyrone, and she's like, "Ooh, he's short." Anyway, Sheree gets right into confronting him about not showing up in Philly, and he says something to the effect that his appearance couldn't be publicized that day, but he had gotten approval to film in New York City. But I cannot remember why he did not come, because it was in that 100-mile radius, allegedly, that he could go. So he then says, "You knew that taping in Philly could not happen that day for whatever reason." Now, this falls in line with something that he said, I believe, in an interview with the Jasmine brand. You guys can go back to the Jasmine brand site. And he said something to the effect, and I am paraphrasing, that she knew that he had not gotten permission to film that day in Philly. So that is why he couldn't meet her as they typically would. Because it's, I think, one thing, according to Tyrone, it is one thing to get permission to go and visit her or to come out, but it is another thing to actually film. And we do remember that there was an alleged cease and desist from showing him on the show at that point in time for whatever reason. We don't know why. Okay. Continuing on. So as soon as he says, "You knew we couldn't do the Philly thing," she changes the conversation. And she says, "Well, why are you here now? To apologize?" And he's like, "What?" He was like, "You almost did something that could have gotten me locked up again." And then she, in her confessional, calls him thirsty. And then in person, she demands an apology, which he is not giving her at all. So she ends up walking off. And then for some reason, he comes across Kaylee, who did not know who he was. Okay. And asks, she asked him, "What's your name?" So he then goes on to speak to Apollo, because they were buddies in the system. All right. And Apollo tries to tell him that, "Yo, you shouldn't have left Sheree hanging like that." And was it me, or did Tyrone tell him, "I ain't never got in the mix of your situations, so you shouldn't be in the mix of my situations"? I'm paraphrasing again, but I could have swore he said something to that effect. Okay. Trying to tell him, like, "Yo, I don't get into your situations with your ex. Don't you get into no situations with mine." Okay. So anyway, the producer then asked Apollo, Tyrone claims he didn't meet with Sheree in Philly because it would have been a parole violation. And they write in the bottom, Apollo, not a legal scholar. I was like, y'all producers are so shady. He says that's not true. I think it's under subsection 32 that I think he's able to have media contact. Okay. And I'm like, subsection 32? I need the parole house arrest manual. Can somebody get it out for me, please? Because I was like, what is this? What is it? Is this the truth? Because the producers are letting us know that you are not a legal professional. Should we ask Phaedra? Okay, would she know? Anyway, um, for some reason, we see Tyrone back trying to talk to Sheree again, and she is not having it because she wants an apology, and he ain't giving her one. And then she kicks him out as she should. Okay. Marlo is at Les Archives with Miss Emma, who is her mama. And her mom is, she shows her the shop and everything like that. And we get a flashback of Marlo FaceTiming and apologizing to Candy for what happened when they were in Jamaica, but not necessarily for any other thing that she done said about Candy all throughout the season. But anyway, and so Candy's gonna stop by and meet Miss Emma. But before Candy gets there, Miss Emma wants to know why Marlo don't come around for Christmas, and she wonders maybe, I don't know, if perhaps, she can bring, her man around Marlo. And Marlo gets enraged because I think for Marlo, this man represents all the things that have gone wrong in her mother's life. And I think this man who is allegedly also on the substances is a negative influence for Marlo. And Marlo then wonders that because if everything for her mom was always about a man, maybe that's why Marlo doesn't have a man herself. And I said, oh, interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Candy arrives and Marlo kind of has to step out and get herself together. When Marlo comes back, Miss Emma apologizes, for asking if the man can come around and, they have food. And I wrote in my notes, this scene is so important because it was really nice to see Marlo and Candy just asking the questions about the addiction and, have they tried going to counseling together and everything like that. And, mom says that she's in a better place, but based on Marlo's reactions, I just don't know, where they are. It 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 did kind of remind me of that uh in a very different way, because we do know that Ashley and her mom on Potomac had it out about some other man that was apparently a bad influence, but I don't think it was the substance issues. Yes, Chrissy, thank you so much. Y'all, please hit that like button if you can. I really appreciate it. Yes, please, please, please. It does help us get the videos out into the algorithm. Thank you so much, Felicia, for making that request. I appreciate that. It was very interesting. It was so fascinating to me. I'm always moved by these scenes where we get, real raw emotion. And we can tell as an audience when it feels real. And I know that for Marlo, she has to have these tough conversations because she has to prove her worth as a housewife. But I think these are the real moments that people enjoy even more than her going low, because this is a real look into who Marlo is. And I think I can speak for a lot of us when I say we are interested in this Marlo. We're really interested in this Marlo. So anyway, it's the day of the fashion show, and Sheree is recapping, Tyrone showing up with her glam team. When she arrives at the space, it looks spectacular. And we get a side-by-side comparison of her past show, which is wild. And apparently, we now have 24 full pieces that have come in. I don't know if we're counting the piece with the bad camel toe, and I don't know if we're counting the piece with the one with that the model fell down the runway. But we got pieces, okay? We see Kenya getting dressed, and she's with baby Brooklyn, who is just adorable. And everybody begins to arrive for the show. Drew feels like her money went to the fashion show. And Drew, yes, I'm sure it probably did. Okay. And I think you should just let the mouse go. You're never going to get your $100. And so I just think that you should, again, like I said earlier, just chalk it up to the loss. Okay. Or maybe now that she's getting all these sales from the sold out website, maybe she can pay you back. I don't know. Okay. Because you know she got to make those millions back from those samples that she bought. And furthermore, if you are buying, if you don't, can I tell y'all something? You cannot. Okay. You got 24 pieces. The sample is of the piece. Okay. I would assume, right? The samples can't be for the fabrics. You know how I know that? My best friend is a designer. Yeah. She makes beautiful gowns for people for reunions and things like that. So I know her process. I've seen it actually happen myself. I've seen Riley make a dress in 2 hours or less. Okay. I've seen her go purchase the material from lots of different places. Okay. As we saw Sheree doing earlier when she was looking at the material. So the sample itself is of the designed garment. All right. Why did you spend $1 million on that, on 24 pieces? That shouldn't have cost you $1 million. Now that I think back on that, I'm like, that couldn't have cost $1 million. That don't make no sense to me. Okay. Anyway, Candy arrives. Carmen is there. Fatum is back. Kenya arrives dressed in a. I could have swore Kenya's dress is the same dress that Portia wore to the last season finale, but I don't know. It also looks like Diana Slytherin Jenkins from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills dress that she has on in their promo photo, but I can't be sure. Anyway, Tammy from season 9 is there. You know, the one that fell out in the house in Miami. Bob is there. Marlo arrives and she wonders if Tyrone and Sheree are getting married tonight. And I'm like, oh no, girl, you ain't seen all that happen. And apparently Tyrone is there with some flowers because he ain't got enough screen time yet. So he brings her some flowers that Sheree says look like they came from the Publix, okay? And I feel like he's there for the photos. I don't know, because she's on the phone with Shekinah when he comes in. She's talking to Shekinah. And he comes in with the flowers, but I kept feeling like he kept trying to edge his way into the frame. Like there was some photos being taken or maybe into the camera frame. Did y'all get that feeling? Like, I was like, is it that you, did we not get the right angle, sir? Like, what, I mean, what's your purpose here? Okay. Sheree's mom arrives and she too needs to be reminded of who Tyrone is. But mom remembers when she said, you remember Prison Bay. Now, if that ain't the disrespect of it all, okay? The disrespect of it all. Did she just call the man Prison Bay to his face while he's standing right here with his public flowers? Oh, no. Okay. Simply Samar says, I'm sorry, none of these 24 pieces were on her website. The only thing we have seen is these amazing essentials with her logo on it, overcharged by 90%. Hashtag Sheree wants you to overpay. Allegedly. Oh my God. They did. When Fatum showed up, they played the barking noise. I was like, shady producers, y'all are not letting anybody get away this season. Okay. Nobody's getting away. Yes, they did. Yes, they did her dirty. Yes, she called him Prison Bay. Okay. So anyway, Dwight, the king of fashions, has arrived draped in a Dracula cloak. Okay. And Dwight actually looks like better. Like, I don't know. I think it might be the beard. You know what I'm saying? A beard will make, for guys, let me tell you something. Sometimes a beard can be like a lace front. You know what I mean? Like that beard will like, it'll get you right together. Because without a beard, y'all, I look like a little kid. Okay. I look like the only kid, all right? But with this beard, I look a little more grown. You know what I'm saying? Look a little more grown. And it gave Dwight a distinguished look last night. I was like, okay, I see you, Dwight. Come on through, man. Come on through. Um, wait, did he really? Somebody said Dr. Dubrow. Did that happen? We're gonna say allegedly, Jessica. Okay, because I need to know more about it. So I'm gonna research that for y'all. RuPaul said it, and it's true. Facial hair is a natural contour. Yes, I love it. It is actually a natural contour. Anyway, excuse me, y'all. So Tyrone reveals to the Real Housewives of Atlanta ladies that he's, off the monitor, okay? And he introduces himself to the cast, and nobody really seems to feel him all that much. Marlo is like, Sheree got with this man when he had a coin, but then he went away and he ain't got no more coins, so she might as well just let him go. And Kenya is in agreement with Marlo on this one. Let this man go, okay? Peter Thomas runs up, but it was so flat, it was so fast. All I heard was somebody tell him that his fly was unzipped. So the show ends up running about 2 hours late, okay? Quad is in the building, Lisa Nicole, I think everybody in Atlanta is there. Dwight is ready to go because the fashion show hasn't started. And then finally, we get our first model hitting the runway. And the clothes are giving body, yada, 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 and joggers, okay? I ain't gonna lie. I did see two. I saw maybe 3 pieces that I felt like I would like as a guy. Now, ladies and guys, did y'all see any pieces that you would have liked? Because I really thought that these pieces, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I had my car ready like I was trying to purchase an Ivy Park drop, okay? And allegedly, those pieces disappeared faster than an Ivy Park drop because she's saying that the website crashed from all the love that the site was given. But I ain't seen not one person yet with a receipt that anything has been purchased yet. So, okay. I don't know. All right. I'm not calling her a liar, but I'm just going to tell you what it felt like. Okay. I'm not calling her a liar, but it just definitely.
It was all a lie. Guys, it was all a lie. She lied.
I don't know. I'm definitely not calling her a liar because the thing about Sheree in this situation is we finally got a fashion show. All right. And this was a moment for Sheree. She comes walking down the runway. And I wrote in my notes, I said, this season, while I think at points was a little rocky, overall, it was a fun season. As I reflect on it, and I think about my experience recapping Beverly Hills, because these were 2 of the 3 big housewives shows that were on, Atlanta felt like a breath of fresh air as it compares to Beverly Hills, which is a very stressful watch for me. And so as I thought back on the season overall, I said, wow, this was actually really fun. Okay. And I felt like it was such a success until I clicked on the She by Sheree website and was not able to purchase not a thing. Okay. The link for the shop option just does nothing. All right. It does nothing. At the end, Tyrone wants to talk to Sheree for a minute, but she's got not nary a minute for him, as she should not. And we get the closing credits as the ladies walk the runway. Sheree, Sonya goes to Dr. Jackie, as everyone does in Atlanta, okay, to get her IUD taken out. Candy and Todd still have not finalized that trust. Ralph's book is really out, but Drew ain't read not a drop of it, okay? Marlo's house is about to be built. Kenya and Brooklyn travel through Europe for the summer. And Sheree is at the fulfillment center for She by Sheree. That fulfillment center must be in Alaska because I swear to you, I don't know where she was or where those fashions are unless she filmed that little insert yesterday, which I will tell you guys that a show can have you add in photos, videos, IG stories, and all of that stuff even a week leading up to it. And trust me, I know, because I did it myself when I was on Bravo. I was still sending stuff up to the last minute because there was a modification to my episode. So that's how I know that her in that fulfillment center could have been filmed last week. Okay. But again, why is there nothing on the site? This show ended filming what, February, March, and we now in September. You told me earlier this week, Sheree, you told us all to get our credit cards ready. We had our credit cards ready, and we go to the site. We go to the site to see what is going on. We go to the site expecting that there is going to be fashions, and there's not nary a fashion there. We go to this site expecting for you to have stuff there.
Nothing was there.
And
Nothing was there.
and what? And what? What? What?
Nothing was there. 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 Nothing was there.